Now that we've looked at some coding conventions for HTML, let's go ahead and code. So I want to make the words hello world really big. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click before the words hello world in my HTML. We're going to apply a heading 1 style to this HTML. So to do this, we're going to go ahead and open up our brackets for our caret brackets. We're going to type an H, a 1, and close it. You're going to notice that at that point, not only does the words hello world become big and bold, but so do the words this is Leah or this is your name. The reason is because you've opened the H1, but you never told the computer or the browser when to stop it. When do I stop the bold? When do I stop the big text? To indicate this, you need to have a closing tag. So I'm going to go to the end of hello world here, and I'm going to close my H1. To do this, it's going to look almost exactly the same, except that after my less than or my open caret, I'm going to put a slash, a forward slash, to say I'm closing my H1, and then I'm going to close it with a bracket. You're going to see at that point that hello world is now the only text that is bold and big, while this is your name is no longer bold and big because we've told the computer and browser stop making it bold and big, stop the heading 1. You can then see also that we have a really big gap here. The reason we have a big gap here is because not only do we have a break tag, but one of the other features of a heading 1 tag is that it creates a gap below it. It creates a line break automatically. So we no longer need this break tag. So I'm going to take the break tag and I'm going to delete it. You're going to see then that the text is still bold and large, but then the words this is Leah is not sitting on the same line because that's one of the features of the H1 tag. So now that you've kind of coded this, let's look at some other headings, right? So not only do you have an H1, but you could do an H2. An H2, and we're going to go ahead and type the words heading 2 inside of that, is going to be smaller, but still bold and a little bit bigger than our normal text. Notice that since I have not closed my tag, this is Leah is also bolding and making bigger, but not as big as the H1 because the heading 2s are only a little bit bigger. So what I need to do is at the end of my heading 2, I need to close it. So I'd like you to see if you can close this real quick on your own. To close this, I'm going to go ahead and type my bracket and put the forward slash of H2. And I'm doing H2 because I opened an H2 and this is where I'd like to close it. This goes all the way down to H6. So for instance, we could do an H3 tag and show you what a heading 3 is going to look like, closing that at the end. You'll notice that each one is still bold, but slightly smaller, H1 being the largest. This goes all the way down again to H6. So I'm going to make a heading 6 here so you can see what that looks like. And you'll see that it's smaller actually than our normal paragraph font size, our default font size, but it's still bold. So when we're creating code, you want to say when things open and when things close. What's also important is that there's lots of different codes for what you want to do, and you're not always going to know which ones to use. So don't forget that Google is right at your fingertips.